forever. Forever. I think that's the word that gets me. It's like something unchanging forever, even if it's the best thing, is overwhelming. And maybe it's just because my mind just can't comprehend it. When you become a guide, do you just float around and guide people? Is
I
that
don't know, is
fulfilling?
that obtaining enlightenment and then you are part of the greater consciousness?
Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself and all of that? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Good morning. Welcome back. Happy pre-fall. We're playing 5 ideas.
Yes. Happy Tuesday. And only pre-fall if you're in the Midwest or northern states, I feel like. If you're in the South states, we're still in full summer.
Shut up. It's pre-fall in my mind. All right. Today we will be discussing, oh, Jesus Christ, a Kayla episode in which it says, eternity in heaven is awesome, but does eternity scare you?
Bro.
To Kayla to fuck me up at 5 a.m. It's not 5 a.m., but
It's still pretty early. Have you thought about this before?
no.
Have you ever thought about it?
Yes, as a child, back when I used to say the sinner's prayer every night to make sure I was saved before I went to bed in case the rapture happened.
Gosh. Okay, I don't mean all that. I'm taking this into just like whatever religion, whatever you specifically believe or prayed about or went to church about or whatever. If you believe there's a heaven and that heaven is divine and there's so much glory in the air and you don't care about anything else because you're all consumed with the feeling of God, right? But like when you think about feeling that way and being there like forever, like that, like obviously doesn't scare me because like it can't be bad, but like just being in one place forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, like where there's no end. Is that not a little scary or like hard to wrap your brain around?
This brings about, number one, some philosophical questions and why I have a problem with continuing to process the things I was brought up believing. But to begin with, I don't really think that something can be, how can something be, quote, the best or be good if there's in the absence of anything bad? I don't understand how you can have joy in the absence of sorrow.
Well, my lame answer would just be that because it's God's energy and it's holy and you don't know what you're missing. I don't know.
Well, I just think about the best times that I've had are usually immediately following the hardest times I've had.
There's no reward without the struggle first kind of thing.
It's like if you have summer all the time. The absolute best time of the year is when you get the first hints of cold after a very scalding hot summer and the first glimpse of warm after a cold winter. And it's that warm temperature is the same warm temperature than it is months later, but you don't appreciate it the same way. And then same with my best meal has been after a really long, hard hike where Jason and I thought we were lost. The best hotel I ever stayed in was a Super 8 like shit motel after we had camped outside the night before on an angle in the rain on rocks during a fire ban when it was 45 degrees outside. But that would have been a shitty hotel had we been just having great times the whole weekend.
But do you feel like that's just our earthly mentality?
No.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I know. I just don't think you can I don't think you can appreciate anything if you have it forever. I just think this may be a failure of evangelical modern day Christianity, but the way that heaven is described really sounds like gluttony, which really I don't think leads to anyone being well. If you have all of the best and you can have whatever you want and then you're happy all the time, isn't it that whole idea of like good times, great weak people?
Yes.
We're just going to be a bunch of fat, flabby fuckers floating around heaven. I just something's not making sense to me.
Well, for me, I'm not the Bible and scripture expert, so maybe you can parcel some things out. But I feel like what I have grown up on, like between Catholic Church, great Catholic Church, and not denominational church. Thank you. In my mind, it's like you have this earth on heaven. You you either go to heaven or you go to hell, right? And then that's the end of the story. So in my mind, it's like, okay, like if I get to heaven, then again, it's like forever. That part is like, that actually scares me for some reason. But then I'm like, well, what if you're just so content? It's fine. But then you just think about forever and you're like, well, I don't want to say what's the point because that sounds bad. Like some people say like, you're so happy to be in the presence of the Lord that like you don't really need to be like with your family or like you don't need to like have the love of your husband or like your children, right? Like where is all that? Like do you lose it? Do you not care anymore? Is it there in the essence?
Here's the other part that I have a hard time with is you get to heaven and your kid isn't there because they didn't say the sinner's prayer in time and now they're in hell and you're super fucking happy and forget about it.
Right. That can't be right, right?
It feel like if you start scratching away at some of these things, it just doesn't make sense, which isn't me saying that the Bible is all garbage and you need to throw it into the trash. I'm just saying I feel as though our understanding of whatever an afterlife is not the full picture. Also, I sort of feel like eternity of doing the same thing over and over and over again sounds like hell to me. I also have what's it called? Commitment issues, maybe on some level, or the personality type that I currently have in this body form is bored easily. But I mean, even Jason and I have talked about how I don't ever want to buy a house and say it's the house we're going to live in forever. Because saying I'm going to live in a certain house for forever, I feel like I'm purchasing a tomb. That's not how everybody else feels. And I could also probably live in the same house forever until I die. I just can't say that that's what I'm doing. Does that make sense? So to think that I'm going to hang out in this little floaty cloud place with all the same fucking people all of the time, and then there's never going to be any challenge to work toward, sounds like my worst nightmare. Now, also feels weird to think that I'm so happy I got here and then screw you guys that didn't. I have problems with numerous facets of this. I think also, do we even know what eternity is? Because what if eternity is just a multiverse? I don't know. I feel much more. I don't think that we just die and then it's a period at the end of everything. But the childhood conception that I had of heaven sounds like hell to me. And I don't know what to do with that.
No, I can totally see where you're coming from. I would also say I have, well, I don't know what I would say, but there was like this one Black Mirror episode where this guy ended up getting stranded in a spaceship and he wouldn't die and he was just going to be floating through space forever, like for eternity. And even when I just said that, my stomach just dropped and then came back up a little bit. Obviously, that's a different situation because he's all by himself in the middle of space, and that's kind of scary. Forever, forever. I think that's the word that gets me. It's like something unchanging forever, even if it's the best thing possible, is overwhelming. And maybe it's just because my mind just can't comprehend it. But that's why at this stage of my life, again, where does this fit into the Bible? I don't know, because I believe in God. I believe in a higher being, right? Which I call God. But I do feel like I can conceptualize reincarnation more or something sort of like that, where you come here, you do your thing, you learn your lessons, you perish, and then you go back to your little soul house, like your soul area, and you recap and you regroup and you plan for the next one, and then you jump back in, you try it again, you keep trying to get better, better, better. Now, do you do that forever? I've heard, I've heard, I've read books where it's like you obviously grow. Your first reincarnation is going to be, you're not going to be as experienced and knowledgeable as your thousandth. But like when you become a guide, do you just float around and guide people? Is
I
that
don't know. Is
fulfilling?
that obtaining enlightenment and then you are part of the greater consciousness?
And then you just, again, all your children that you've had over the
What
years.
if time isn't real?
I don't think it is.
Because
I
then
don't think it's
you
linear.
wouldn't, yeah, the passage of time would be different if it wasn't what we currently experience.
But now that I'm just thinking about it, what I just said, your first reincarnation, where did you come from? Do they create souls?
I just feel like the consciousness. I don't
Like,
know,
at what
man.
point do you start?
I don't know, but I'm starting to get into this world where everything has consciousness, and our definition of consciousness is fucked up and tied to the ability to have language, which feels like a sort of a biased thing to say, especially when you consider some of the intelligence of animals. When you just look at birds flying in a perfect V or wolves hunting in a pack, there's obviously some type of like collective conscious or communication that's happening that we aren't aware of. Same with working with old people who have dementia, who become nonverbal. It doesn't mean they're not still in there. I saw a really great meme, which I hate that it informed so much of my thought processes, but it was basically the idea of consciousness being this giant underneath the surface, and then it was sticking, the little fingers are sticking through the surface, and they looked like people.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it
That's a good
sort of
picture.
feels more like a situation where we're all connected by something bigger, and there's this greater collective consciousness that we're a part of, and then it's just like we're all these little terminal points of it or something. I don't know. I don't know what that means or what that looks like. And again, like you said, I kind of think time is made up. Well, it's real to us right now, but I don't know that it is after we finish whatever journey we're on in our current skin sack. But it's really fucking with my ability to eat meat, which I'm not loving because I mostly eat meat.
Is this a new thing?
Well, no, it's been building. It's been a problem. But then I also sort of feel like if you acknowledge the sacrifice of the animal, and then if you try to do those things in the most ethical way possible. But it's even like with plants. I was talking to a bug the other day and told it to please go away or I was going to have to smush it. They don't mean this in like a distressing way either, but it's just very interesting when you think about it. There's just all these different things, and then what is life, and then what is the purpose, and then what if we reincarnate into animals and it's not just people? And
well, and that was my other question. Like, if you feel like it could be animals, what if you came back as like an ant? What if you came back and you got like smushed within 5 minutes and then you're like, oh, time to start over?
I don't know. It's so interesting.
Or like a fly, they only live for like 24 hours. I'm like, where's the cutoff of like insect? I guess, do they have a conscious brain soul?
I don't know.
Like, I could see bigger animals and mammals having that. I guess, is it just mammals because we're mammals?
I have no idea, but if you've ever seen like a baby bear play, it's just baby anything. I don't know. It's when an animal can play, it just that feels like a higher level of being than just some inanimate thing.
Well, and even like chimpanzees or monkeys or apes, like they're doing like sign language and communicating.
I mean,
Which
dolphins are
also,
communicating with all of their noises, and we
yes,
just
they
don't
are.
know what they're saying.
I have a quick question. Maybe I need to call Boyd and ask this. If you believe in evolution theory, and if we came from monkeys, right? Wouldn't there be no more monkeys?
This is, I think, the people who are hardcore evolutionists could say that a certain genetic thing happened in one
And it like
lineage
split off.
where it split off.
Okay.
I don't
I've
know.
always
Then
just-
there's all the other past humans. Bruh, I don't know. You fucking me up with your questions again. I just don't think it. I think what everything boils down to for me is nothing is as simple as we like to make it. And then if you start to unsimplify things and you start to ask bigger questions, every question leads into another bigger question. And then I sort of just come to this place where we're all connected and there's something bigger than all of us, and that's what connects all of us. I am now expanding into those connection points, feeling like they're bigger than just people. I don't really know what you're supposed to do with that, other than to just respect other living things. But then I also wonder, what does living mean? And what things that give off energy. And then you can get into crystals.
Sorry. More crystals. I want trees. You want crystals.
Oh, it's because I already feel like the trees are things. I don't know. Just anybody that that's a hardcore atheist that thinks it's just like nothing matters and there's no me. I just challenge you to take a walk through the redwood forest. There's just something about being around something that's thousands of years old.
Maybe those are some of the fingers. Like, I just feel like because it's Mother Earth and it's so connected that they hold our consciousness too. And maybe that's how why we feel it. I don't know.
Just sort of, it's like tuning forks, and then you feel the vibrations, or so. I have no fucking idea. But the idea of heaven as I was taught it as a child, like I said, sounds terrifying, to just be singing songs forever in the key of C. But I think there's more to it, and we just don't understand things fully. And
It's
that is
weird to
not
think about.
scary. To me, it's less scary. The unknown is less scary than the known quantity of trying to define something, because no matter how it gets defined, it just sounds awful to me.
Yeah, and I really do think there's a huge conceptual problem with time, because it has to be linear here on Earth to make things work and businesses run and the world to go around. But I definitely feel like time is not linear. That's the first step. And then maybe there's something else going on even more than that with time. But it is interesting. And I'm glad you agree, because I'm just, when I think about it, it's just like super overwhelming. So all these other possibilities, like, I kind of wish I would know, but then maybe it's probably better not to know. So just knowing that it's an unknown, but it's not that, like, that makes it feel better.
Me too, man. Me too.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
Or
But
it won't.
if you
I don't have
haven't
any
already,
control over it.
I've mentioned this to you a million times, but if you're listening to this and you're new and you haven't heard me talk about this, I really, 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 really love the book Journey of Souls by Michael Newton.
It was
I
very
know I
good.
keep name
The voice on the
dropping.
audiobook was a little painful. A little
Really?
breathy. I
I
feel
didn't
like
even
that's
notice.
true.
Well,
Maybe
sorry
in
to
another life.
rattle your brain this morning.
Yeah, right? In my version of heaven, there's dragons, and it's like
Oh, wow.
epic and cool. I just really struggle with an all-knowing, all-loving God sitting up there watching people burn alive in hell for eternity. That continues to be a puzzler for me.
You think maybe they start there and maybe they can change and work their way back up? Or
I
maybe
have a real
they go.
problem with there even being hell in general, but sort of feels like people have lived some hells already in this life. It seemed pretty
Maybe
fucked up to be like, "Oh, didn't do it right. See ya."
maybe hell is a social construct. I'm just kidding. I hate that word. I hate those words. But that's why I feel like reincarnation makes sense, because if you did some pretty terrible things, maybe you come back with some karmic energy. Or maybe you just go back and you freaking have to try a lot harder and try again. I don't know. Who am I to even?
Hope we didn't ruin anybody's day. I don't know. Legitimately, I find it to be a comforting thing thinking that we don't know, because everything that I've been told that we allegedly know is disconcerting. So I would rather not know and live in the mystery and the awe of mystery than be a mamsy-pamsy know-it-all.
I agree. Cheers to the unknown.
Well, until next week.
Love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.